Another beautiful episode of Healthy Living, reaching you from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Olamide Al-Hassan. Now, the surge of Lassa fever sweeping across the country is a growing threat to Nigeria's fragile healthcare system. The latest reports by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention shows that this year alone, 24 states recorded at least one confirmed case of the viral hemorrhagic illness. This wave of epidemics should be a wake-up call to the federal and state governments. More strategies, resources, and policies need to be embraced for Nigeria to be fully prepared to tackle the outbreak of epidemics. Today on the program, we've been joined by an environmental specialist, Sanitarian Egene T, EneJo, to help us discuss on the outbreak of Lassa fever. You're welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me today once again. I will continue to thank you because the work you are doing in the environment and our society at large is enormous. And we'll continue not to rest until the society is safe and conducive for all of us to stay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for joining us and for always creating time to help us, analyze on some of these health challenges and, of course, to enlighten the audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma.
All right. So because we're talking about the outbreak of Lassa fever, we've seen a lot of it, especially this year. We've heard of outbreaks in Kaduna, we heard in Benue and some other states. The question now is, before we go into what some of the reasons why these things are beginning to happen in these times, let's first of all have an understanding and a vivid description of what Lassa fever is.
Well, Lassa fever has been with us for a very long time. It's a haemorrhagic fever. It's a virus disease that arises from rat infestations. It was first discovered in 1950 and later was diagnosed in 1969. That was a long time ago.
Okay.
But over the years, the activities of it continue to come up and arise and increase on daily basis, on yearly basis, especially from December to April, where there's high rate of improper disposal of waste, where there is heat. The rats, which is the vector that carry this virus, could not be able to stay at a place that there is no food. So they need to go out and eat food. And because there is this presence of virus in them, they go, as they move around, they spray it on food, on water, on our resources. So that is why you see that when the time comes, especially during the early months of the year, from December to that of April, there will be always high infestation of these rats, and people get in contact to it because we leave rat like our normal pets. Some places you go, you see rat running here and there. Yes, because there is no family, there is no house without rats. Yes, irrespective of where you build your house, as long as there are improper management of waste within your premises, there are all other environmental factors that give rises to rats, then rat must be present. So it's just few places you go, because as an environmental health officer, when you go to a places, you may tell me you do not have rats, but when I go into inspection of the premises, you see that I will find out signs of rat in your premises, and the presence of sign of rat shows that there is rat in the premises.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what causes some of these things? Are there seasons when this Lassa fever spreads, or it's just because I'm beginning to wonder, why is it usually at the beginning of the year? Is it seasonal thing? Is there something that we're doing at that point that makes us prone to a lot of rats?
Yeah, during that period of between December to April, as the case may be, there will be heat. The bushes will dry, right? People will start clearing bushes for farming. And as a result of that, rats will not be able to stay because there is no conducive environment for it to stay within that premises. And as a result of that, the look starts coming back home, starts coming to where they can see food, where they can see water, where they can have access to conveniences, because them too, they need convenience. And once they live in an environment that is not conducive for them, they go to another places. And the presence of food brings about the presence of rats in the premises, either raw food or cooked food or leftover food or improper disposal of garbages or refuse from food. So the presence of these things brings about rats in our premises, especially this season. And the presence of dry season brings about the high increase of rat infestation in our environment within that period. That is why we see that the rate of its increase is always from November, December till April. So after April or May now, you see that the rate of infestation or the outbreak will continue to reduce till another year again. So that is how it continues on yearly basis. And this is not even limited to only Nigeria. It's all over some part of West Africa. Like Ghana, they always express their own. Like Sierra Leone, they always express their own. Like Mali, like Guinea, like Democratic Republic of Congo, and Benin Republic. So these things happen within the West Africa regions, except on few occasions that people that have traveled to this place can take it to other European countries.
Okay.
So that is how it continues to go. And why we are here is to discuss about it, the possibility of minimizing it.
Of course.
Yeah, because it's a preventable disease. Yeah, Lassa fever is a preventable disease. When there is no outbreak of Lassa fever, you see that every medical doctors, every other health personnel go and sit down. But it's the duty of all EneJos to go out and sensitize people. This disease is supposed not to even have come in the first place before affecting people and then leading to loss of life and property and thereabouts.
Okay, because you said it's preventable. So what are the things that we can do to prevent these, should I call them rodents, from
rodents,
getting into our environment and ruining things? I remember I saw a video clip on social media. A particular woman had a bag of rice that she had just opened the previous day. So she had it open, and then she came into the kitchen and found a rat inside, dead. So she recorded a video and was asking, what should I do to this bag of rice? Rice is expensive in this economy, and there's a dead rat inside. Should I throw it away, or should I throw away the rice, or should I just throw away the rat and find a way to continue to cook my rice and eat it, especially still knowing that Lassa fever is real?
Now, in that scenario, what I advise as a professional is you call an expert for examination. That rat, what leads to the death of the rat? Then is the rat infected with the virus? Because it is not all rats that are infected with the virus.
Okay.
And anyone that is infected with the virus can spread the virus until he died. As long as he's infected, it doesn't limit the rate of spread until that rat is dead. And if he's dead and somebody even mash it, it's still a problem. Dead and disposed properly. Now, in the case of this woman now, what I advise to do is you call an expert for examination. That rat can be taken for medical examination, like to the laboratory, they do a test on it. Then the same rats can be fetched for examination to see whether the rice is still okay for you to consume. But you cannot even consume it unless there is proper sanitation on the rice. Like probably if the rat that died did not die with the presence of the virus, you can wash the rice and dry it, then take it for examination again to see if the rat is safe for good. Now, what people are considering is the financial aspect of it. It is only a living that testify tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So if you are considering that, okay, you are buying a bag of rats for 80,000 naira, and this 80,000 naira is not even enough for you to take treatment for Lassa fever, which one do you prefer? It is better, generally advised, that if you do not have the resources, you can wash it and sun dry it, which is not even 100% certain. But on the other hand, you can dispose that rice. You will not die.
Sure.
You can throw away the rice because you don't know what killed the rat.
Throwing away a whole bag of rice.
That is it.
Bag of rice like 80,000 or slightly less.
The 80,000 naira is not enough to treat Lassa fever. The pain you pass through, the psychological trauma you pass through, the emotional trauma you pass through, the anxieties, you leaving your office, leaving all other things that you are expected to do, the 80,000 naira is not enough to qualify that. You don't know how many months you are going to spend in the hospital, right? Or weeks. So it is better you just look at it. Many people have lost a lot. Somebody buy a car today and the car somersaulted, the whole thing spoiled. What will you do? Somebody build the house today, you enter the house, before you know it, fire take over the house and burn the house down. What will you do? Will you kill yourself along with it? So it is better to dispose the rice for you not to be infected, because once you are infected, it is not stopping at your desk. Anybody that come in contact with you will also contact. Then you see how it's come out, like in the case of Kaduna now. You see the medical personnel that attended to the patient also go, because what? They were not properly protected. Right? Absolutely. So as a result of that ignorance, leave the rice and the rat to go their way while you continue living your life. They say when there's life, there is hope.
There's hope.
So if you prefer to eat the rice and then put your family at risk, yourself at risk, your friends and neighbors at risk, society at risk, then what is your benefit? So it is expected to discard the rice and then let it go while you hustle for somewhere else and continue feeding.
All right. I know we're talking about the outbreak of Lassa fever, and oftentimes there are lots of fever. But then how do we specifically know that this one is Lassa fever? Because some persons may be down with fever symptoms. So how do we specify? How do we differentiate between Lassa fever and normal fever? So how do we know that, okay, this is Lassa fever?
Now, in the case of Lassa fever, it's very specific.
Okay.
Because it's a hemorrhagic fever, just like Ebola.
Yes.
Right? Now, in the case of this Lassa fever, it has similar symptoms with Ebola. It arises with bleeding, either from the nose, from the mouth, from the body, or any part of the opening. It arises from what? Swelling of the muscles, sore throat. These are some of the signs and symptoms of this Lassa fever, right? What of general fever, high fever, even to the tune of 42 degrees, right? Yes. Then we talk of malaria, general pains of the body. You talk of the diarrhea and vomiting.
Wow.
Then in some cases, you start feeling difficulties of breathing. So this can examined through laboratory analysis for them to know what is really
exactly
the cause of this. Like in the case of Kaduna now, they were treating for other things until the nurses started feeling the same symptoms. Then another laboratory examination has to come in. That is when they discover it was Lassa fever. And it is easier when the thing is here with us already to control, become a problem. So it is even better to prevent it not happening than society to face the trauma that arises as a result of an outbreak of diseases.
So my question, because you talked about how the transmission, what environmental factors actually, aid the transmission of this Lassa fever?
Now, some of the environmental factors that aid the transmission of Lassa fever is one, the presence of rat itself.
Okay.
That is the presence of the virus. When there is presence of virus, there is every possibility of transmission. The presence of improper disposal of waste. That is why in all environmental discussion, we cannot do away with waste. The last time I come here, we discussed about waste, how it contributes to climate change, how it contributes to our healthy living. Now we are here discussing about Lassa fever, and waste is also inside.
Wow.
So it is important for the public to understand that waste management has become a critical thing in all disease control. If you control your waste, you are controlling Lassa fever, you are controlling Dick fever, you are controlling cholera, you are controlling typhoid, you are controlling mosquito, you are controlling gastroenteritis, and other diseases that arises as a result of improper disposal of waste.
That's really interesting.
Then we also talk about food management, food safety. How do you store your food? Do you cover your food properly? The leftover food, how do you dispose it? All boil down to what? The same waste. You see, so the activities of this rat in our premises, the presence of waste, improper waste disposal, can pose the environment to risk. What about the poor sanitation? You look at moving around places, you may not even smell well because of that. And when there's an improper disposal of waste, when there's poor sanitation, when there's every dirty environment, you see that the presence of rat cannot be taken from there. So when there's improper disposal of waste, then improper environmental sanitation, cleanliness is next to godliness. So we must have to clean our environment in order to reduce the rate of which rats will come into our premises. Then in the kitchen, the general cleaning of the kitchen, you cook finish, you left the food open, you leave your kitchen maybe in next tomorrow before you do the cleaning. Why not cook and clean? Because the presence of oil and other ingredients attract rodents. And when they come, if one came here now, it will unsafe. When one came here today and go, he will go and call in friends. And before you know it, they begin to multiply. So for it to be controlled, we have to take all environmental factors seriously. Clearing of the bushes, deforestation, as we discussed in the climate change, is also part of what contributes to the rat infestation. When the marshland is cleared for agricultural purposes, rats may not be able to stable in that place, therefore find their way into our premises. These are environmental factors that contribute to what? The presence of rats in our premises.
So what about the societal factors when it comes to social class, socioeconomic realities? Because they always say, all fingers are not equal. So there are times that it probably may seem as though Lassa fever spreads faster within the people that are the lower class in the society. Does that in any way contribute to the spreading of Lassa fever?
Yes. One of the ways this can be transmitted or spread fastly is population. When there's high population of people, right? People visiting each other, and then poor housing contribute to the presence of rats. Poor environmental sanitations, people living in an overcrowded environment contribute, because where one gets, they may not know, everybody will go and visit as a neighbor now. But in some other estates, nobody cares, everybody live his life. Therefore, reduce the rate of transmission within that setting. But in a rural environment where houses are even attached, some places you may not even see where bicycle can pass, talk more of car. So people are living in a close, they know themselves. So once one is down, the next neighbor will go, Alpha, what is wrong with you? How are you doing? I come to check on you. The same person will go and meet in family. Before you know it, the children take it to school. Before you know it, it becomes sporadic in all the community.
Now, I'm trying to understand something from this description you just gave us. Is it that quick and easy for Lassa fever to spread? Because if you are giving us an example, like this analogy of you go to visit somebody who has a fever and then you go back home, does it mean that contact with whoever has Lassa fever means that you can also contract it?
Yes. If you have contact with somebody that has the fever, because this deals with the blood fluid, right? Once you have contact with the person, or maybe probably where the person sits, you sit the place, you already take it. And as you keep going, you keep spreading it to other people. So contact with the Lassa fever patient is one of the things that what spread. That is why when somebody is down of Lassa fever, we go for contact tracing. How many people have you visited? You that came to visit me, how many people have you visited? The same people you visited will still ask the same person. That is why you see that in the case of Kaduna, about 90 people are now suspect for this thing. And then we'll place them on what? On investigation. People will be, the medical personnel will be monitoring your activities, monitoring the signs and symptoms of this same disease on you for the period it elapsed. And the incubation period between this transmission is always between 5 to 21 days. So within this period, if you have visited somebody that is sick before and you did not perceive any sign and symptom of this virus within this period, it is assumed that you are not contacted of the disease.
But you know, there are people that are symptomatic, so isn't that the case too, where people never ever show symptoms and they have it?
Yes, some of those things, the rate of transmission is very minimal.
Okay.
When somebody is asthmatic, that is, it doesn't show the signs and symptoms but have the diseases. When you have the contact with another person, one, the level of immunity of that person also matters. That is the person that have contact with the the one that is asthmatic patient. So the level of immunity, the level of immune in the system of the person will determine whether it will weigh him down or it will not weigh him down. So when somebody is asthmatic, there's every possibility of spreading the disease, but the rate of spreading is minimal.
Okay.
And that depends on the level of immunity of a community. That the level of immunity of an individual, which also form a community.
Community.
Yes.
Okay, so another question would be, if this fever actually spreads this fast, how do we begin to mitigate it? Because if I come to visit and then sit on your chair and I can contract the fever, I'm imagining that if you were in a public transport with someone who has Lassa fever, you could also contract it because you'd probably be sitting next to the person. So before we even talk about how to mitigate it, how early, or because you've given us the signs and symptoms, so what should the person that already has it, because immediately you've given us those signs and symptoms, somebody's already calculating, this thing I'm feeling right now, is it Lassa or is it not Lassa? How early should we contact a doctor? Because most persons I know that they treat fever with over-the-counter drugs. So how early should we contact a doctor, or what should we do once we realize that it may seem as though we're having Lassa fever symptoms?
Now, when you start having this kind of symptom, that is why self-medication is not good, it's not advisable, it's dangerous to our health, because the drug you are even using might even be the cause of the problem you are facing. That is why it is expected when you start feeling some signs and symptoms that you do not know, contact a medical personnel immediately. Then they will go for medical examination, take your sample for laboratory analysis. So what comes out of it will determine whether they will place you on drugs or place you on a treatment. Yes. So in the case of this spread, it has come and it has stayed. What we need to do is to try as much as we can to mitigate it, to reduce the rate of spread. And in doing that, first and foremost is to declare war against rats, which is the primary source of the vector that carry this virus. If you can see that Lassa fever is a zoonotic disease. That is a disease that transfers from animal to man, then man to man continue. So this is what we should do: war against rodent. Kill it, either by physically, by the use of a pesticide or rodenticides, by clearing the environment, by covering your food properly, and many of those things.
You know, it's just so baffling to know that these things happen all the time, and a lot of people don't even have an idea of what to do, what not to do. But another question to you very quickly before we go on the break would be, what role do environmental officers like you play when it comes to sensitizing the people early? Because you said it's during seasons, dry seasons like this, when trees are being cut down. Because I believe that the first the first things that we should do is to be proactive in everything. We shouldn't have to always react. We should at least be proactive.
Yes.
So which means that there should have been proper sensitization going around villages. I know you're doing your best, of course, enlightening people right now, but maybe this should have been something we should have been discussing for a very long time. But what role do environmental officers actually play?
Now, the environmental health officer is playing a lot of roles. One is by going out for inspection. It is by law that environmental health officer can enter any premises between the hour of 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and any other reasonable hours for the purpose of inspection, purpose of detection and abatement of nuisances. So they have been going out to sensitize the public on what to do. I could remember in 2017 when this outbreak came, we go to markets, all the markets in FCT to sensitize the public. In one of the markets close to us here, we went there and discovered that rat shits are everywhere in Gary.
Ew.
So we have to bring out all the bags of Gary and confiscate it, destroy them in the presence of the owners. So these are some of the things that we do to reduce.
This one is a bit shocking. So let's quickly go on a break and take tea. Come back.
No problem.
Because I'm imagining rats pooping Gary. No, we need a break. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, viewers, I hope you're enjoying the program and I hope you're not as scared as I am right now. But let's go on a quick break. When we return, the conversation continues. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching LD Living and we're discussing the outbreak of Lassa Fever. Before we went on that break, you were describing how you went to the marketplace for inspection and found rat poop in Gary, and that sends shivers down my spine. Like, and people would still sell that.
Yes, that is the attitude of all of us. Yes, when I say all of us, might not be everybody,
of course,
but I'm putting myself. Attitude of Nigerians, and that is why we are here to enlighten them that what you think is not good for you to consume, do not give to another person. So when we confiscate these bags of Gary, we destroy it. It's on air everywhere. That was 2017 or so. In a market close to us here. But so we confiscated. The owner was calculating the money. Like what we were discussing about the woman that found the rat in his bag of rice. So the woman was complaining about her money. Is your money more important than the health of the public? So our attitude was how we give out food, the unsafe attitude and unhygienic practices of the general public is of concern. And if that is not controlled, then the environmental factors cannot easily be mitigated, because the environmental factors are the ones, activities of human that live within the environment. Imagine this woman selling this same Gary to a family of 5. Maybe during that time, the family of another 5 visited their home and they do Gary, all of them ate together. You see how this thing is spreading. True. Or you sell it to a businesswoman who do mama puts or who sell restaurants. You can imagine the rate of spreading.
True.
So we should, as a matter of urgency, educate ourselves to know that these are things that we do not do. And that is what the environmental health officer have been doing, going out to sensitize the public on the need to declare war against rats. When you declare war against rats, it will automatically reduce the rate of rodents in our premises, and in return reduce the disease burden that comes from rats. Do you think that even the rat alone, it is not only the Lassa fever it causes? There's dick fever, there's rhapsody fever, there's a fever, typhoid fever, instead, because the Lassa fever can carry other viruses on the body, move around on the food and water, and when you eat it, you are down of not Lassa fever now, but typhoid fever.
Too bad.
You see it. So the presence of rats in the premises can lead to fire outbreak, because they can eat the wire, the electrical wire, leading to what? Fire outbreak. What causes the major fire outbreak we are seeing in the market, in all the buildings we are seeing today? Who knows? It might be as a result of the presence of rats who have eaten up your wire. And as a result of that, when there's light, it can spark and take over.
Now, according to reports, Lassa fever causes death. And I'm beginning to wonder. For instance, the example you gave of the health workers in Kaduna and how some of them even lost their lives. So what should be the first things to do? Are there supposed to be special equipments that should be given to those health workers to help them to stop, to have prevented those deaths of the people in the front line, at least from an environmentalist angle?
Now, one of the things that affects our mentality, that is as Nigerians,
yes,
is overconfidence.
Oh.
Yes, I've been doing this for over 10 years and nothing happened. Therefore, you start neglecting some critical things that you need to do. The use of personal protective equipment is very, very key in all health workers. If you are a medical doctor, if you want to go and carry out an examination, you should not neglect that the use of hand glove is important because you are going to have a contact with the person. The use of apron is also important because there might be splash of blood or anything and you get in contact with what? The diseased person. Right? The use of face mask or nose mask or respirator is also important. The use of helmet or face shield, as the case may be in the health. When you talk of other engineering aspect, you can talk of helmet because of maybe suspended object might fall on you. So the use of personal protective devices are key in carrying out this exercise. You come to hospital, some medical doctors do not use their strap. They don't wear their strap to attend to a patient. And that thing is to cover you. Okay. You wear your own personal clothes already, then you wear your scrub on it. So that whatever that come in contact with the scrub will not have access directly to your personal clothes. And that is the important. But many people are neglecting it. And once you neglect it, either as a result of overconfidence, I've been doing this for years and nothing happened, one day it will happen. And what it happen, who will be there to write the story? The best version of it can be written by you and not someone else. So why not protect yourself? You know you are facing dangers every day. It is not when there is an outbreak of disease we should protect ourselves. When there's a coronavirus in Nigeria, everybody wash their hand. But go to all the facilities now. Do you see water dispenser? Do you see where to wash hand? Because that has been minimized or that has been controlled, nobody care again. But not knowing that washing your hand regularly, putting on your apron and face mask, protect you from other hazardous substances.
Sure.
Protect you from having different kinds of diseases, as in the case of this Lassa fever. So we must take cognizance into our PPE, personal protective equipment or personal protective device are key. What about the safety boot? You go to a facility, health facility, you see them wearing slippers. And that thing can, when you mistakenly draw, you can fall. Sure. And once you fall, you can lead to damage of your body, your hand dislocation, or even fracture, as the case may be. So protection of the use of personal protective devices is very key in all health facilities, so that the health you are trying to protect, you protect yourself first. Once you protect yourself, you have reduced the rate of the same transmission of the same disease, because from the work you go back to your house and meet your wife, meet your children, or meet with friends. And as a result of that, you are transferring the same disease to another people.
Okay, so what are some of the benefits of early detection, and how long does it take for Lassa fever to become a fatality case?
It takes, just like you ask of early detection, the benefit of early detection brings about control. The benefit of early detection brings about your knowledge, creating awareness for you to know the cause and how to mitigate it. The early detection brings about what brings about this Lassa fever and how can we control it. So when there's Lassa fever, there must be something that brings the Lassa fever. The presence of rat brings the Lassa fever. When you detect the rat, go after the rat. Declare war against the rat. Do the ratting like the federal government is doing now through the Ministry of Environment and my own regulatory body, Environmental Health Council of Nigeria.
Okay.
We are doing what we call total deratization in the facilities. And the federal government, through the registrar of the council, Dr. Mahmoud Yakubu Baba, has given a directive that after this deratization, all public places must be what? Deratized.
Okay.
All public places like health facilities, like hotels, like restaurants, like schools, universities, all public gatherings, gardens should what? Should be deratized.
So what process is deratization?
The process of setting a bait, giving the rat food, enough food to show up, to enjoy themselves. And that food is poisonous. So we set bait for them, we give them enough food. The presence of food brings about rats. So once there's their own special food, and this food is what? Enticing. When they see it, they run to eat.
Okay.
Yes, when they see it, they run to eat. And the moment they shop, that is it, they go. So we do total deratting of the premises. And this should not limit to this because there is an outbreak. We should keep doing it until the rate of rat in our premises is reduced. I could remember in 2016, a young man called me that rat is not allowing him to rest in his house. No, in his supermarket. I said, okay, what do we do? I come there, I do my inspection. I see a lot of places that he needs to cover. Because when there's hole,
some of these holes.
Yes, when there's hole in the building, rats can have access. As little as this hole, rat can have access and come into your house. So cover the road with cement or with sand and cement. When you cover it, you have prevent the rat from coming. So rat were eating. You buy 5 alive, rat enter it, open all of it. You have to lose your money. Bread, biscuit, everything. Rat was eating their this thing. I said, oh, you don't have problem. The problem share is assumed half solved. I am here for you. So he call on me, I go there, I do my work, and then the following day, he pack about 30 rats from his house. I said, that is not enough.
In one person's house?
Yes, that is not enough because he has enough food. I know supermarket now, very big, more than this place. So he has enough food for the rat. But when I come and give them the special food, they forget about the original food they were enjoying before.
They came out
and then they come over my own food because I'll give them food, salad. Give them better salad. And they enjoy themselves. So when they enjoy themselves, you may even see them moving staggering because they are not in themselves. Right? So that is how I was able to help him to control the rat. Imagine how much he has lost as a result of destroying all those valuables.
But it may seem as though we also do not, we're not extremely careful ourselves. Because I know that some people still eat, they eat rat as bushmeat.
Yes.
So isn't that even much more risky?
It is more risky. But the eating of rats, that is why I say not all rats are what? Infected. You cannot tell a Benue man not to chop rat.
Are you serious?
So you cannot tell them not to, because that's their.
But
in
yeah,
fact,
there was an
even
outbreak
in other
Benue
villages.
too.
Yes, there is an outbreak in Benue.
I think within last week or so.
Yes, wherever there is high infestation of rats, there must be present of that one that carried the virus. And once that mingle with others, it gives it to them within themselves. Zoonotic transmission. Animal to animal, animal to man, man to man. You see this chain cannot be broken because you cannot separate rats from coming to meet each other. And once the infected one meets the uninfected one, it infected, then it becomes two. Once these two go out for their meeting, meet others, maybe in the course of running around, they share things. That is how we keep on having numerous rats that has this same virus. So once we declare war against this rat, then the rate of control will come to pass.
Okay, talking about the rate of control, are there some sort of control measures that we can use to control some of these rodents?
Now, yes, one of the things we need to do in our house is to properly cover our food. Store your food properly. Leftover food should be what? Disposed properly. have your dustbin that has a cover. Not all this, there are different kind of dustbin for specific purpose. There are dustbin that is meant for office. There are dustbin that is meant for hospital. There are dustbin that meant for restaurant. So has a dustbin that's meant for restaurant in the case of restaurant, in the case of household. Then that has a cover. So that when you put this dustbin, the waste into the dustbin, rat will not have access to it.
True.
Once there is no food for rats, in the next 1 week, you will not see any rat in your premises. So these are one of the factors. Dispose your waste properly. Do your thorough cleaning. Environmental sanitation is the key. You must not leave it to do it every week. You can do it every day. Many people do not sweep their home every day. You sweep today, it's still clean. Right? Whereas there might be a stain somewhere that can attract rats. Might be as a result of your cooking.
Sure.
So, and what's maybe in the kitchen, rat pass and drop this thing on the floor. Maybe Maggi fell on ground. You pick it and put it into your soup as you keep preparing. Don't you know you have contaminated the soup?
Hell.
So we must be very, very careful in how to handle our food. Because when there's food, there's rat. So that environmental factors are things that we need to do. Because the presence of rats can lead to other things. Not only bringing the disease. Have you heard of somebody that rats eat up his certificate? Or the furnitures?
I think I heard something like that, and people just assumed it was spiritual thing. It wasn't normal.
It is normal. As long as there's rat, the presence of rat, they can eat your furniture and get access to your documents and eat it up. A rat eat up somebody's wedding gown. You can imagine the kind of trauma you pass through, right? So that is how rat is.
Very funny.
So the presence of rat in our environment give us different kinds of problems, psychologically, financially, physically, and otherwise.
Okay, but are there, we have pesticide control. So
yes.
Do we have rodent control too, that we can just use like some sort of fumigation and the environments that can,
Yes, that is what we call deratization.
Oh, okay.
Deratting, the process of setting bait for rats to enjoy themselves and go. So apart from that, we have other methods to control rats in the premises.
Okay,
we have physical method, we have chemical method, the use of chemical or poison substances, and then we have biological method. This biological method is the use of other animals, like cats.
Cat, oh.
To push away the rats from the house. They say cat and rat do not walk the same road.
True.
So when you have the cat, the pet at home, it eats up the rats or pursue it away from the premises. Then the use of chemical, that is the bait, or the physical control. Have you screened your house? Is there access to the house?
Are there holes somewhere?
Is there holes to be covered? So when you do all those things, it will help to limit the rate of infestation of rats in our premises.
Okay then, so in that case, is it possible that we have vaccine for Lassa fever too?
The vaccine is still undergoing examination.
Okay.
Yes, it has not come out yet, but they are working on it to have a Lassa fever vaccine. And once that has come, then everybody will go for it. But Nigeria has this mentality. Vaccine reduce our potential or our lifespan or the rate of reproduction that you want to kill our this thing. So
future generation.
Something like that. That you want to kill our future generation, or don't want to do. That is why many people neglect to go for vaccine. And even the coronavirus, this thing, a lot of people go for a vaccine that they do not take. And while we were working at the airport, we are expert in the field. So if you take, we know. If you do not take, we know. Some will say, are you wish? How do you know? This is our field. Somebody will go to, because you have somebody in the health facility and said, okay, give me vaccine certificate. Come and take it. They say, I don't want to take it. How much will I pay? So a lot of people miss their flight, lose their money, go back after the person that gave them or somebody that directed them to this person. But you are the one that seek for that direction, and that's why they give it to you. So many people are afraid of taking vaccines, and that is what is one of the problems of our country. So in the case of this rat, when the Ministry of Environment, under the supervision of the minister and my own regulatory body, the Environmental Health Council, if they do this deratization in your premises, especially in facilities like health, hospitals, and hotels, we give deratization certificate.
Okay.
And that shows that this place has been derated. Okay. And you can call on them anytime for follow-up, for check-up. So that is how we will go as long as the Lassa fever is concerned for us to contain it.
This Lassa fever case sounds really, really sensitive. But now, are there plans on the way to continue desensitization, probably within those rural areas where they don't even know that this is happening? Because it has become an epidemic in Nigeria, that everybody knows that Lassa fever is real. We need to get this language out to them completely. So are there plans on the way from your unit, from your angle, from your office as a environmental health officer to, you know, also visit some of these places, pockets of villages, so that we don't continue to hear the spread and death of people that have been in contact with Lassa fever?
Yes, right now, the communication, the sensitization is going on in states that have the outbreak.
Beautiful.
And as we are discussing here now, this is not limited to the state that has it now.
Because I'm thinking someone can travel down there and bring it back if it's that easy.
So, like now, other states that have not been experiencing it should not relax, because somebody can go to the same place and come back. So this sensitization should be a national issue, like it's going on in Kaduna State and other parts of the north. It should also go on in all the states. So I'm encouraging my fellow colleague, fellow sanitarians, to keep going out and sensitize the people as they used to do. In their official assignment, let them educate the general public on the need and way to mitigate and control the spread of Lassa fever. And they should declare a war against rats. And if there is high infestation that you cannot control or seek help, you can call on environmental health officer or pest control vendors that are registered with the regulatory body to come and take control of the rats. Okay,
so if, for instance, anybody discovers that they may have contracted Lassa fever, what is the first aid measure? What should be the first thing that they should do before they eventually go to the hospital?
The first thing to do is to protect yourself and then reduce your contact. On your own, you can reduce people coming to you. Since you have already know that this is what has happened, you can reduce what people coming to you, and you can take a lot of water.
Okay.
Yeah, you can take enough water, because when there's presence of water in the body, it will what? Reduce the rate of the viruses in your body. So you should take enough water while you seek medical attention immediately. You do not have to wait until it weigh you down. Okay. Yeah, that is self-isolation. Of course, is very, very important, so that it will reduce the rate of spread. Then communicate somebody. In case you do not have the contact of any medical facilities, you can communicate a friend who will in turn communicate with the health facilities, and they'll take this thing to your place and take you to the facilities or hospital for examination. So in doing so, we'll try as much as we can to mitigate it from spreading.
All right, before we go, I want you to also educate our viewers on how best to keep their environment free of these rodents to avoid Lassa fever. Yes. Okay.
Now, to our viewers, just like I said before, waste management is one of the problems we are having. If you there is no place you go today that they manage their waste. In fact, even on the road as you are coming, you see people spreading. Then for those who are spreading food on the road, please stop it. Spreading gari cassava, rice on the road.
On the highways.
On the highways.
Sure.
Rats will pass on it, defecate on it, piss as in urinate on it, and then you return. Some of those things we don't wash it before we eat it. In the case of garri, we do not wash it again. It is assumed that this has been prepared for you.
Remove the
so
flavor.
yes, so for us to control it, we the viewers should be able to help also. We can help the society. Then clean your environment every day. You must clean your environment every day. Sanitation is the key. All these things we are talking about is all about sanitation. When you clean your environment every day, you minimize your waste, you cover your food, right? You cover your food, you see rat, you kill it with stick. That is physical assault. Declare war against rat. When you see it, you kill it. Once it becomes plenty, you call an expert to come and take control of the rat for you. And that's why we have many registered personnel as practitioners and as sanitarian. Practitioners, those that will registered, service providers, those that are registered with the regulatory body and have the license to do what we call pest control services. You can call on them because the rat control fall under pest control services. You can call on us directly. Call me now anywhere you are. We'll discuss about it. Then I'll come with my gun to go ahead and slaughter or kill all the rats for you. So at affordable price, because it's not free.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely it's not going to be free. So that is it. So a lot needs to be done individually, collectively, as family, or as a corporate body.
Sure.
Everybody, like in these premises, there should be dustbin where people can be what? Go and dispose their waste.
Yes.
People, when you eat food finish, the leftover you keep by your side. What happened? When you leave it there, stain can be there, and rat has a high sense of smelling and find their way there. Before you know it, you have rat in your premises. So dispose your waste properly. It will help to reduce and curtail the rate of spread of Lassa fever in our premises.
All right. Thank you very much. But before we round up, looking ahead, what do you think the government can do, in order to stem this spread that is currently going on? Now,
what government can do is, one, government can look into funding. Funding is one of the critical issues. And until there is an endemic or an outbreak, sometimes, and many a times, government play a deaf ear to preventive medicine. So prevention is better and cheaper than cure. Why should we wait until it starts happening before we do it? Growing up, we hear how they do the ratting, how they do fumigation of the spaces to reduce all kinds of vectors that give us diseases. Government can start initiating that by doing this fumigation, by sensitizing the public as we are doing now, then by giving more manpower. Employee of environmental health officer is also the key, because in a facility of any health facility that has 50 beds, you have environmental health unit.
Okay.
Any health facilities that has about 200 beds, 100 to 200 beds, you have environmental health department. Go around all the facilities. How many environmental health departments do you see? Or how many environmental health units do we see? So those things are key for us to control this, because if there is an environmental health officer in a place, you'll be able to check the environment and take record of what is there that may likely bring different kinds of diseases.
Sure. Somebody
enter hospital today with this disease and go home with another disease. All those things need to be controlled, and it needs the personnel to do that. Then there should also be what? Mobilized. Logistics is also another problem. A man, as if they call us wale, moving from house to house, right? But how can I move from here, trekking from here to far central area? That is impossible. Give us vehicle, give us finance to support our movement. It will help us to what? To also reach out to people as many as we can. And what I'm doing here, my registrar have done it. He has done it through the Minister of Health, Minister of Environment, and the Permanent Secretary. They have come up to issue a guideline on this regulatory body. Go online and read what is there, in addition to what we are doing, because it will help you to know what to do and what not to do at a certain time. Environmental health officers are your friend. Whenever you see them, please embrace them, share your problem with them, and they will help you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your time today. We really appreciate you, Sanitarian Egene EneJo.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
All right, viewers, that's it on the program for today. I'm sure you've learned a thing or two, and I'm sure you also know that it is time to take care of our environment if we've not been doing that before. Our environment is our health. I'll see you again next week. I am Olamide Alhassan. Bye for now.